Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the CEO Sports Show for January 11th, 2026. It feels weird saying 2026, but I guess we're here now. And we are in the 2026 playoffs. And we had two absolute bangers of games that we're going to talk about. But before we get into the episode, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate that. Make sure to check out the rest of the shows on the Kretschman Media Network. And without further ado, let's get into the episode. So let's talk about it. All right, let's talk about it, guys. I want to start off with the Bears versus Packers games. I know that was the second game on tonight out of the doubleheader that we had, but this is, like, to me, maybe the game of the year. I mean, it was that good of a game. There's been like a lot of great games this year. There hasn't been like any like great teams out there, but there's been a lot of great games, and this was absolutely one of them. And I just want to start it off with this. The Bears beat the Packers tonight, and I honestly believe that the storyline of this game is that Caleb Williams is a superstar quarterback. Yeah, it didn't look pretty for some points of this game, but when he needed to make plays, he made plays. Is he perfect? No, he's not a perfect quarterback. There aren't any quarterbacks in this league that are perfect. Are there some things that he needs to work on? Yes. But when you see it from Caleb Williams, you see it. You see, oh, no. That's something that not every quarterback in the NFL can do that. As a matter of fact, very few quarterbacks in the NFL can do that. And something that's special about Caleb Williams and why he's such a great fit in Chicago is that he has an arm that can pierce through the wind. There are very few quarterbacks in the NFL that have that type of arm, that have that much power in their throws to be able to pierce that thing through the wind to the level that Caleb Williams can do that. And Caleb Williams can do that. And when you look at his ability to throw on all three levels of the field with the type of accuracy and the velocity that he delivers the ball with, it is very impressive. And in this game, yeah, he had a rough start to this game. But I mean, you're talking about 25 fourth quarter points in this game. That's wildly impressive. 361 yards over the air. That's impressive. 2 touchdowns to yes, 2 interceptions, because he wasn't perfect in this game. But when he needed to be great, what was he? He was great. And, you know, again, it's been the same story with the Bears all season, right? You had this feeling going into this game. I picked the Bears to win this game. I thought the Bears were a better football team, in my personal opinion. I thought the Packers were stumbling into the playoffs with the amount of injuries that they had going into this game. And I think that was a big time storyline, right? But I think people weren't sold on the Bears because they did things like this all season where they would get themselves in this hole and then they would get themselves out of it. But I just looked at the talent on the Bears. I really like their offensive line. They invested in it in the offseason. I like Caleb Williams a lot. Their running back duo is very good. They have some tight ends that can play, Loveland, Kmet. They have receivers on the outside, Romo Dunze. Zacchaeus is a nice player. Luther Burden's really starting to come into his own. DJ Moore. They have Ben Johnson dialing up the plays. The defense, yeah, you want to see better performances from them. But very much like Caleb Williams, when the Bears defense needed to step up, they stepped up in this game. I mean, you're looking at a second half where they only had 6 points that they gave up in the second half. That's impressive. They allowed 1 touchdown in the second half. And 2 plays that the Packers are going to want back. Missing that extra point, that was bad. And then the false start, or no, it was the delay of game from the Packers. That was bad as well. And that cost them the game there. I mean, not being able to get that extra point, because if they would have gotten that extra point, what would have happened? They were in field goal range. You know, hey, look, that kicker missed that field goal. Maybe they don't make that field goal, but you would bet that an NFL kicker would be able to make, what was it, like a 40-yard kick? In today's NFL, yeah, that's easy money. But like when we're talking about the Bears, I think people underrate them because I don't think they see the real potential with the type of talent that they have, especially offensively. Defensively, you want a little more out of them. But they have a really good coach over there in Dennis Allen, and he's getting the most out of what he can on that side of the ball. Is it something that I can see this team riding to the Super Bowl? I don't know all about that, to be honest with you, but I really like this team. They have an identity. Their offense is balanced. It's multiple. And they're dangerous. I just think they're a dangerous football team. I think the Bears are so dangerous. When you look at what they do offensively, they run the ball extremely well. And because of that, that opens up so much for their passing attack. And that's what you saw in this game. Ben Johnson did not abandon the run in this game. At least that's not what it seemed like to me, because their play action passing game was very, very good in this game, right? I don't know. I just come away from this game when I look at the Chicago Bears and I say, look, they're either getting Philly or LA coming into their building next week. They can win both of those games, especially if they play Philly. I mean, they went into Philly and they dominated them on Black Friday. They get Philly again, they're going to beat them again. They beat them pretty soundly in that game. LA, that might be a little more difficult just because of LA's offense. It can really put points on the board. But hey, look, the Bears offense can put points on the board as well. And when you talk about the Packers, because I want to switch this over to the Packers, we're not blaming Jordan Love for this loss, right? I thought Jordan Love was spectacular in this game. And he made so many big-time throws in this game. And yeah, situationally, do you like the fact that he had that delay of game call? No, absolutely not. You can't make that mistake. But some of the throws he was making and the way he was executing, especially in the first half of this football game, was outstanding to see. Now, the Bears in the second half of this game, they got a lot of opportunities offensively to put points on the board, and they were really milking a lot of that clock. They kept Jordan Love on the sidelines, so that was something. But that drive that he had to get them up to, I believe it was 27-16, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was one of those scores. He was money. He was flat out money on that drive. And even in that last drive, they got into a position where if they would have had to have kicked a field goal, they would have been there. That throw on fourth down, money, nails. And I gained a lot of respect for Jordan Love in this game. I know they lost the game, but I'm not looking at Jordan Love and saying, hey, you have to do more. I mean, the guy, he threw 46 times in this game, 323 yards, and 4 touchdowns. What else do you want from the guy? I mean, the Packers' run game was not good tonight. You're going to look at the stats and say, 23 for 99. That's not too bad. But 55 yards came from Josh Jacobs, and he averaged 2.9 yards per attempt. They struggled to get anything going on the ground, but they were still able to make things happen over the air because Jordan Love played at such a high level in this game. And when you're looking at the Packers going forward, what is their outlook going forward? If you're the Packers, I know there's Packers fans that want to move on from Matt LaFleur. I completely disagree with that sentiment. I think you got to run it back with him. I mean, this offense for the Packers is very good, and I don't think that there's some overly talented unit. I know people like Dobbs and Reed and all those guys, and yeah, they're really good players, but do I look at any of those guys and say, damn, that's, Puka Nacua, or that's Justin Jefferson, or that's George Pickens, or one of these top flight receivers? No, I don't say that at all. I say, yeah, they're good. They have good talent on their offense, but it's not great. And I think he gets more out of that offense than what is actually there to be had. So if I'm the Packers, I'm not moving on from Matt LaFleur. Absolutely not. I think that would be an irrational decision. And I get it. 3 years in a row, you're the 7th seed. In the last 3 years, they only have 1 playoff win. I get that. But again, I don't think that is a coaching issue. I just don't think their personnel is all that good. I think people overrated their personnel coming into the season. I don't think their personnel is that good. So to me, when I look at the Packers, I look more at Gutekunst and I say, you need to do a better job getting talent on this football team rather than Matt LaFleur having to do a better job coaching the talent that you put on that football team. They're not that good of a football team. Matt LaFleur makes them better. He makes a difference on the sidelines. So from that perspective, for me, I think if you're the Packers, you're making a really bad decision moving on from Matt LaFleur, if that's the way they want to go. So I want to move on to the Rams and the Panthers. This was an outstanding game. I mean, just wire to wire, outstanding game from both of these teams. And this was an offensive shootout from both of these teams, right? Like 34-31. And what really impressed me was that I thought Bryce Young was outstanding in this game. Like, I thought he was really, really good. And, I look at Bryce Young the same way I look at Caleb Williams. I think he's going to work. I think Bryce Young is going to work in this league. I think he's going to get to a point where he's a really good quarterback. Right now, I look at him and I say he's above average. There's inconsistent play from him. And I think because of his inconsistency, that's a reason why you look at the Panthers and you say, what team are they really? But I think that when you look at Bryce Young, year 2 was way better than year 1. And I think year 3 was better than year 2. I want to see what's going to happen in year 4, because I think that he's going to establish himself as a legitimate starting quarterback in year 4. Now, they're going to have to make a decision when it comes to paying him after this year, right? I don't think he's put himself in a position where I'm like, no, you got to pay this guy. Absolutely not. But I think he's making the strides to where you say, yeah, the development doesn't look like some of the best quarterbacks in the league, right? Where a lot of these guys came in and you just saw it right away. You're not seeing it right away from Bryce Young, but you're starting to see he's developing into something. And I think that Bryce Young was outstanding. I really do. And I don't think that the Panthers really ran the ball all that well in this game. So for him to be in this spot where he has a young team that he's playing with against a team like the Los Angeles Rams, who's coming into your building, a Super Bowl favorite to some people, right? And for him to play as well as he did, I thought that was very impressive from Bryce Young. Like, to me, when I look at this performance, kind of like Jordan Love, I don't put this game on Bryce Young at all. I don't look at this performance and say Bryce Young's the problem. No, I say, hey, run game, you got to be better. Defense, you got to be better. Because I feel like people place too much emphasis on, okay, you won the game. That makes the quarterback great. Oh, you didn't win the game. He's a playoff choker. He didn't do enough to win the game. No, football is not like that at all. Football is the most complementary sport in the entire world when it comes to any team sport. It is the most reliant on other players on your football team. You need your offensive line to block. You need your receivers to get open and catch the ball. Jimmy Horn. You need your defense to be able to stop the opposing offense enough times to where your offense doesn't have to overextend themselves to win the game. Football is a complementary game. It is a complementary sport. So when I look at this and I look at this game, I say, Bryce Young, you did everything you could. I don't have a single complaint about the way you played this game. So salute to Bryce Young. The Panthers, to me, like, I'm such a fan of Dave Canales. I thought Dave Canales did a fantastic job with this team. I think they have a home run coach there. They made that hire. I believe this is his second year as the head coach. I think he's outstanding. I get it. The wins and losses might not reflect that per se, but for them to be where they were last year and to see where they're at right now, especially when you look at the leap that they took defensively, I know that's not Dave Canales is the head coach, right? He's not the defensive coordinator. And it's not like, from a personnel perspective, they added like a whole bunch of top flight talent to this defense. Their personnel is fine defensively, and I thought they improved big time this year. So, I'm excited to see Dave Canales in year 3. I'm excited to see Bryce Young in year 4. But I want to move this over to the Los Angeles Rams. What a gutsy performance. Look, sometimes it doesn't look pretty, right? Like, this is a playoff atmosphere, and I get it. People are going to look at the Panthers and say, They're below 500 team. You should blow them out. I got it. Understood that. This is the playoffs at the end of the day. And the playoffs are not the type of atmosphere where you're just like, hey, look, you're going to go in and blow these teams out. I don't care how good a team is. I don't care how bad a team is. Blowouts usually don't happen in the playoffs. It's not a common occurrence. So for the Rams to come in there, obviously they did not play their best game. They'll tell you that firsthand. And for them to go in there and pick up this win, I found that to be impressive. And especially with that late season stretch that they were on where they weren't playing their best football, for them to find a way to win this game, credit to the Rams. And honestly, like when you look at the Rams going forward, they have Devontae Adams. He came back from injury, and Quentin Lake came back from injury. I believe he was out with injury. And for Devontae Adams to come back, 5 receptions for 72 yards. And, was it pretty? No, it wasn't. But I think let him get, a week under him, and I think you're going to see this Rams offense play at an extremely high level. So when I look at this game, I thought it was an awesome game. I thought the Panthers overachieved in this game, and I thought that the Rams kind of played down to their competition. But in the end, the better team won, and it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with the Rams for the rest of this playoffs, right? Because they're in a situation where they're going to either play, so I think they're either going to play Chicago or Seattle, right? They can't play Philly next round because they would be the second lowest seed, if I'm not mistaken, because both the top 2 seeds are in the playoffs. So they would either play Chicago or they would play Seattle. Yeah. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting matchup, either one of those games. So that's going to be it for the episode, though, guys. If you haven't already, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe. I will see you guys in the next episode.